Hi folks, it's Andy. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome to this week's Kendo Rant. We have some questions for you today. It's only a couple today. I think we've got 4 questions today. They're reasonably long ones, but it should be a pretty snappy episode today. So we'll get to them in just a minute. But before we do, don't forget, YouTube magic, like, share, subscribe. Let's get those YouTube ninja robots out to work, increasing the Kendo population by 723.64 quadrillion people by lunchtime. So all you have to do is like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below using the word Kendo. What a great Kendo channel. This is the best Kendo show I've ever seen in my life. Stuff like that. And that will make sure that the YouTube ninja robots go out there and get people to start Kendo, and they don't start some other sport. Okay, some like obscure thing like what's it called? Basketball or something. That's like an obscure one, I think. All right, want to keep them with the super popular sports like Kendo. So, okay. One more thing before we jump to the questions. Nearly skipped the plug for KendoStar, which is the best Kendo equipment website in the galaxy, and that is how you keep supporting the channel. If you like the content that I put out, whether it's these FAQ style videos, the feedback videos that I do, the analysis videos that I do, or the instructional content that I do, it's all completely free. Okay, we don't have any subscriptions, memberships. You don't have to pay for subtitles, nothing like that. And the best bit is it's a win-win, because all you have to do to support it is to shop at KendoStar. It's the best Kendo equipment website ever. Of course, I would say that because I own the place. But it's true, okay? We've got a massively high rating, far higher than everywhere else. We've got thousands and thousands of reviews as well that's based on. We're an established brand, okay? I'm not a middleman. It's not my part-time job. We're a full established business with a full team of staff ready to serve you, okay? We've got hundreds of ball gazettes, Shinai uniforms, probably thousands of those to be fair, in stock, ready to ship, all right? So you get amazing service, fast shipping, top quality. You're going to shop with us in the end anyway, all right? So buy right first time round. Don't buy twice, buy first at KendoStar.com. Okay, let's get to the questions. It's Friday, folks, it's Friday, right. Hi Sensei, it's the first time. I will soon face Jodan players in competitions, and we're lucky to have 2 Jodan players in our club plus 1 Nito player. They've given me tips like angling the Shinai correctly for the kote, moving to the side to create openings and change the waza. Example, don't go for the same cut every time. But I still find it tough to handle their kamae and strategy. To be honest, I think my semi is non-existent with Jodan and Nito. Against Jodan players, I'm learning semi with footwork, but when I face Jodan or Nito players, it feels like all of that goes out the window. Do you have any advice on how to approach Jodan or Nito players? Thanks in advance. It's tough, all right, and because it's reasonably rare, I think even players that have got quite a lot of experience struggle with it. I'm not a particular expert in sort of playing against Jodan either, frankly. I wouldn't consider it a speciality of mine. But my general thoughts on it are, I tend not... I know the sort of general teaching is sort of something akin to what you learn in the kata, which is where you point the tip of the shinai towards their left kote kosta like this, right? So you point it here. But I actually think that that's a little bit too narrow. I like to point it a little bit further out. So if they were in Jodan like this, all right, I imagine this line between their wrist and their elbow, okay, to be this one side of a kind of, should we say, a diamond that has equal length sides. Okay, so like if that's that way, then there's an equal length line going up this way, like that, right? And then the same on the top. Does that make sense? All right, I saw this in a diagram in a Kendo magazine once. That's how I kind of imaged it. Anyway, so if this is one corner of our imaginary diamond, the opposite corner is where I would point the tip of my shinai. Okay, so it just gives it a little bit more protection over your kote, right? I find that if you point it straight at the kote, they can slip round that shinai pretty easily. The other thing is to try to manage the distance. All right, try not to stay too far away. If you stay far away, then they're at an advantage because they're going to use the kotate waza, the one-handed strikes, and that's got a lot more reach than your two-handed strikes. Try to get into a closer distance so that you take away the advantages that they've got. All right, and otherwise, try not to let your feet stop moving. Try to keep your feet, even if it's just a shuffle, keep them moving. And strategically, I tend to move sort of towards my right side, which is to the left side, which means for them, they have to go this way, which means, you know, that their arm's in the way, so they have more to move. If you go to your left, you're going to their right, which is open. It's easy for them to see you still. Whereas if you go to this side for them, there's more effort required on their part. Okay. And then use hikiwaza, and that's the same for Nito as well. Use hikiwaza because they've got no advantage at all doing in tsubazariai. All right. And in terms of Nito players, they've arguably got a disadvantage at tsubazariai. So yeah. Other than that, it's practice. And you know, at first stand, I wouldn't be like panicking over it, but you'll get there with it. Just keep practicing. Okay, next one. I was wondering what people usually take into consideration when choosing left versus right Jodan. I know we're Jodan again. Okay, I know it's not your speciality yet, but with my extremely limited understanding at this point in my journey, it doesn't seem like right Jodan would have any advantages over left Jodan, as left Jodan grants some extra reach. Thank you very much for your thoughts. Okay, so for the most part, right Jodan is like non-existent in Shinai Kendo. We hardly use it in Shinai Kendo. Hardly. I don't think I've really ever seen anyone really play with it, to be honest. Jodan's generally strategically better. Left Jodan, as you correctly point out, is different. It has its different sort of advantages in that, because you've got your left foot in front, right, and then you're going to use kotate waza, one-handed strike. You're going to get a lot more reach over somebody just striking with two hands. So that's why you would use left Jodan. But right Jodan doesn't give that benefit. Okay, right Jodan being, of course, with your right foot in front, and it's essentially Chudan but with the hands over the head. Right, we use it in the kata, of course, but in Shinai Kendo, it's not particularly applicable. All right, for the most part. Okay. We're zipping through this. Gonna be a short, snappy episode today, folks. Hey, Sensei, I hope your New Year's kicked off well for you and your dojo. I have a question for Kendo RANT. No problem. I know for a while KendoStar stocked the Tenkafubu. To my excitement, I've seen KendoStar launch a new line of Shinai geared towards Jodan. We're all about Jodan today, folks. It's all about Jodan. Could you explain, if any, the differences between the old Tenkafubu model and the current Tengu model? I have two more of the Tenkafubu Shinai to get through. I've always liked the way these Shinai felt, and I'll be bagging the new model soon. Thanks for your time. So yeah, look. The Tenkafubu model Shinai was a Shinai that we had until last year, which is it was specifically a sort of Jodan Shinai. It was, and essentially, you could we put it as a Jodan Shinai, and that's kind of the way it goes. But in sort of reality, it's a Shinai with a sort of long ska. A longer grip, okay, because lots of Jodan players tend to prefer a longer grip to get a more comfortable hand position, whereas a shorter grip might make them feel a little bit cramped, right? So they'd often prefer the right hand to have a little bit extra space. All right, that's generally the popular situation. We had a little bit of a change of suppliers with them. In the original supplier of the Tenkafubu last year had a little bit of difficulty in terms of supplying us with the stock that we needed. So we sort of sought out an alternative. We did a little bit of a revisit to the design as well. And yeah, what we've got now with the Tengu is, and I'll be honest, Tengu is sort of in trial. Really, I'm seeing how it does with the current batch we've got in stock. We'll see the popularity of it, see the feedback we get from it, as to whether it'll be a long-term addition to the website. I don't know, but for the time being, it's there. And essentially, it's very similar in terms of concept to the Tenkafubu. It's a slightly different. I'd say it's a slightly different balance. I'd say the Tenkafubu was, if anything, it was slightly more like a Koto style shinai, whereas that's the Tenkafubu. The Tengu is a little bit more. I'd say there's a little bit less weight in the tip of it. So I think you'll be able to swing it a bit faster. And it has a we had a bit of an issue with the Tenkafubu last year as well, getting the longer Tsukagawa, but they were only a little bit longer than a standard one. They were like 2 centimeters longer, whereas the ones on the Tengu, we've solved that issue, and they're quite a lot longer. They're about 36 centimeters. That's about 4 centimeters. 35, 36. Yeah, they're about 4 centimeters longer than a standard Tsukagawa. So than a standard grip. So it's quite a long Tsuka on it. So if you do Jodan, it's a great choice. Or if you just like a really long Tsukagawa, I mean they're pretty long. Then it's a good choice. Okay. And there we go. Right, we're at the last one already. Already we're at the last one. A short, snappy, sharp episode today. Okay. I'd like to ask you some questions. Why do many references teach to hold the kamae with the left hand, one fist in front of the belly button? I often see people have their left hand somewhere around the front of the fist, first row on the zekken, I think you mean. I also heard some people say moving the left hand to the left to have a bit better center when striking aimen. And is it okay if the left leg curls up after jumping from the left foot for strikes? This gives a feeling that the strike is faster. How to fix this and attack from far distance without being seen by opponents? Thank you very much. Okay, so a few questions there. All right, so first, the basic standard teaching is to have the left fist in your Chudan no kamae in front of the belly button, but in front of the navel, right? Thing is it's like it's a general guideline, especially for beginners, but everybody is a bit different. Everyone's built different, and people's belly buttons are in different places, and there's lots of reasons for that. So it's just a guideline. All right, it's just a guideline, but it should be in a position that's like I think it's a good thing as a basis. But I don't think it should be sort of held as concrete, and should be sort of a little bit flexible depending on the exact build of the person in question. And the left hand should sit at a comfortable height that allows you to perform kendo effectively. Okay. In terms of moving the left hand to the left slightly to have a bit better center when you strike aimen, it's not. I don't necessarily think it's in order to have a better center when you strike aimen. But I think there is. So again, in basic terms, we learn to keep the shinai in the middle, directly in the middle, which is how I did my kamae for years and years and years and years. And there is also teachings, especially sort of in advanced kendo a bit later on, instead of having the shinai directly on the center line, but instead to have the knuckle of the left thumb on the center line, so it's slightly offset this way, so that instead of using the kensen to control the center line, you're actually sort of using this area of the shinai instead. Okay, rather than necessarily just the tip of the shinai. It's quite an advanced concept. It works for some people, not for others. It's something that I think is worth experimenting with once you get to a certain point, which realistically, in my opinion, is probably at least after 5th dan. Okay, at least after 5th dan. I wouldn't start messing around with it whilst you're like Shodan, Nidan, something like that. Okay. And in terms of, is it okay for the left leg curl up after jumping from the left foot for strikes? So this is called Hane-Ashi in Japanese, and it is a bad habit. It is not good to do that. If the left leg curls up after you hit, or as you hit, come on, back into focus. There we go. If the left leg, I've gone back out. If the left leg curls up like this as you hit, it means you have to lean forward to hit this way. This might feel like you're hitting faster, but you're definitely hitting very weakly. Your strike mustn't have the proper power or impact. It must be weak because you can't have your body in the strike. In other words, you can't be sort of transferring your body weight to the impact of the strike, which is where the power of the strike has to come from. Not from bashing with your arms, of course. So this kind of diving men's strike, one, hard to get the bonks, it's almost always too light. And two, it's very easy for opponent to counterattack because although it feels fast, because you're going like this, you're giving a lot of space between your body and your opponent's body. It gives them loads of room to do a kaishido. All right, so the best is to make sure that the left foot comes with the right leg and you don't flick it out in that way. And in terms of how to attack from a far distance without being seen by opponents, I mean, it's not really a case of attacking from a far distance without being seen. People that are able to hit from a far distance are very good at it because they're able to select a timing to hit where you're unable to notice or to react. It's not necessarily that, you know, it's not that it's like so fast or something. It's just that they've been able to create a situation where you're unable to respond is generally the case. But I think the best thing is to use your footwork, keep your feet close together, don't have them far apart, and that will definitely make it so that striking from a far distance is much more effective, as well as striking from a close distance. Okay, so there we go. All right, nice, short, sweet episode today. Thank you for joining me. I'm not sure if I'll have a show next week or not. I'll try to do one. I'm actually going to be in Japan for a few weeks, so I will do shows while I'm over there. But I'm not sure yet if the timing will be different or what. So it might be a bit sporadic, but I will be putting stuff, and I'll be updating things in the Kendo Show Early Access group. I don't plug that enough, by the way. The Kendo Show Early Access group is a Facebook group that should be a link to it in the comments. That's where I usually post to ask the people for questions and stuff. But if you've got a question you want to add, you can also put it in the comments on this video too. That also works. But other than that, see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend. Shop at KendoStar. Bye bye.